Good morning, people of God. Um, Listen, I just want to say something to encourage some of you, God's people, um, God's chosen elect. You know, His remnant. If you are one of God's remnant, those who He has chose as His last day, um, end time folk. You know, um, you've been going through some things, some trials, some battles. You know, um, that have really been serious. Some have been life threatening. But I want to say something to encourage you. I want you to go back and think on Daniel. And some of you are modern day Daniels. You know, they're going to need you. They're persecuting you now. They're trying to destroy you now, not realizing they're going to need you later, right? Remember when they threw Daniel in jail, and when the handwriting appeared on the wall, they couldn't understand it. They had to go and get Daniel, and he could interpret it. Remember when the king saw favor in Daniel and he promoted Daniel? There were other folk, other supervisors and folk in positions. They didn't like Daniel. He didn't do anything to them, you know. He was hated without a cause. Daniel prayed to the Lord 3 times a day. And when I was younger and studying the word, I would say, Dad, he prays so much. Oh, glory. But let me tell you, time teaches you everything. That's why it's not good to judge a book by its cover, baby. As you grow older, you grow wiser, you mature. So some of the things I ignorantly used to say and think, I don't think they're ignorant now, baby. I understand a lot, especially when you got to engage in warfare. So when I began to put the pieces together, Daniel prayed 3 times a day because it was necessary. He knew what he was going through. He felt the opposition because many times you might not have proof or answers as to what's going on in the spiritual realm or what's being said or done against you behind your back, but you can feel it. And sometimes God will even reveal it to you through visions or dreams, you know. But Daniel prayed 3 times a day. And those supervisors, they teamed up together and they kept trying to find fault in Daniel. But they couldn't. He was innocent. So then the enemy came and assisted them. Who is that enemy? That old no good accuser, Satan. I'm sipping on me, y'all. Excuse me. In between, I'm sipping on me some ginger and honey. That old no good accuser. He came to accuse Daniel, right? And when he came to accuse Daniel, he used people. Who were those people? Those supervisors, those other folk who despised Daniel's wisdom, who despised the favor that they saw the king had for Daniel. And after all their attempts and plots failed, then they realized, well, he prays to his old God 3 times a day. So the only thing we can do is we're going to have to come up with something in relation to him praying, right? Because they know he was dedicated to that. So they conspired against him and went and manipulated. Witchcraft is what? The lowest level of witchcraft is what? Manipulation. Getting into somebody's mind. That's why folk, those of you who are of Christ, be careful when you sit down with folk, even if it's folk you love, even if it's family or anybody, friends. Be careful when you sit down and talk with folk and they bringing up other folk name to you all the time in a negative way. It's okay if folk talk about other folk if they telling a story and they want to fix something, because then you can listen to them and say, you know what, well, let's schedule a meeting where all of us get together, because see, that's how you rightfully heal or fix a situation. You don't sit down and listen to gossip and carry that, because see, that is how a lot of innocent people, your mind becomes bewitched. You listen to one person bringing you something about another person, so now they're planting seeds in your mind, and you may be innocent, now you going out, you ain't gonna say nothing, you gonna keep that secret, right? So now when this other person come around and they done put them seeds in your mind about, you got all them seeds that you allowed this spirit, usually it's a Jezebel spirit, sowed in your mind. You done allowed all them seeds they sowed. Them seeds gonna grow. You ain't doing nothing with it. What are you doing? Just holding on to it? I remember, and I'm diverting a little bit, but I remember when I was in college, when I pledged into a sorority, which I'm no longer a member of. Thank God I've gotten my divorce papers. So I won't mention the name of the sorority anymore. But many of you who used to follow me years ago on Facebook, I've told my story, my testimony. And I was given my divorce papers last year. And I thank God for that. Right? So anyway, but I remember when I was in college and I pledged into a sorority. See, I don't have brothers and sisters. I am an only child. And oh, I ain't been spoiled, baby. I've been working since I was 13 years old. So I always had hustle in me. Okay? Yeah. But anyway, I remember when I pledged into my sorority and some of the big sisters, when they would get into disputes and things like that. You see, if it was a lot of girls, so if I was friends with all the girls, if all of us as friends, and then two or three fall out, and all of us still as friends, but the energy of the two and three is off, and you feel that. See, I don't like to be in the midst of that. You understand what I'm saying? Because how can we really be a unit when two or three is over here, the energy you bringing, and then the ones that's talking to this one and the ones that's talking to that one, you got to keep, no, that ain't how it should work. You should fix it. So what I would normally do when disputes and things would happen, I would call one and say, hey, I want to go over here for lunch today. You're going to be able to go. I'll pick you up. I used to have a Dodge Durango. Some of you remember. I had a Dodge Durango. I said, I'll pick you up. We go to lunch. I'm treating. Okay, cool. Then I would call the other. I didn't let them know that I was calling the other. So I go pick up one and I call the other, tell them the same thing. And then I go get the other. And so the one that's already in the truck with me looking like, why are we pulling up? And I'm sitting here, I'm blowing, come on. Then the other one coming, when she get in and she look, shut the door, get in. You see, if you want to heal something, that's how you do it. And then it's quiet then. So I'm just riding. We go into the restaurant. Now we sitting in there, you know. We have no choice but to address the elephant in the room, right? That's how you heal a situation. And then after that, the beef is squashed. So now I can be in peace. I don't have to have that negative, divisive energy over here. And, you fix it. You don't just override it. You ever been in girl groups and have girlfriends? I used to have a lot of folk around me at one point, and you ever had friends where one person fall out, the other one fall out. To me, I can't be in the midst of that. Either we're going to be a unit or we not. Either you're going to squash that or you're not. How do you keep overriding it? Another instance is when there was a time where these friends of mine, friends that I grew up with, friends that I went to high school with, there was one individual, she just started acting funny with me. It was four of us. We would meet up from time to time because I always had a busy schedule, but people make time for things that are important, and I try to treat people important. Even if someone calls me and I can't get right back, if they leave a message, I will get back to you, and I'm going to explain when I get you, this is what I was doing. I saw your message, this and this is that. I think you should treat people with a level of, treat people important. That's just my opinion. All right, or give them the same energy that they give you, right? That's what I hear a lot of folks say. Now, if you deliberately seeing folk is not, is trying to show you that you are beneath them, you ain't got to really give them the same energy. You can just pull back from them, right? Just pull back from them, because what's the purpose of that? But anyway, but there was a group of us who would, from time to time, we would meet up, and one individual, she just started acting weird. We never had an argument. She started acting weird with me. So I said, well, maybe she's going through something, because, I was busy with other things. But then I saw it continue to fester and grow. I could tell that there was something going on inside of her towards me that she's not addressing, which I didn't understand it, because our conversations have always been pleasant. Anytime she's asked advice or shared anything, I've always been happy for her success. If she's accomplished anything, I've always tried to be positive. So I don't understand what could have caused the difference in the energy that I began to feel. So I asked some of the other girls, right? I said, so and so is acting kind of weird with me. What's going on? Oh, one girl said, oh, she didn't tell you? I said, tell me what? So they knew there was something, there was a conversation that was had about me. So I tried to call this individual directly. She didn't answer my call. So I cut the entire group off, right? Because I don't roll like that. I don't understand what's going on. Nothing has been said to me, but there's a conversation that's been had about me, and I don't even know what it is. I was always doing something. I was away. So there were other things that I had going on in life, and maybe the once or every other once a month that we would meet up, you know, everything seemed fine until I started feeling the shift in this individual. She used to call me regularly, check in. I call back, I text regularly, different things. She was accomplished. I would encourage. So I didn't understand what fell off. But at that point, I really didn't care. Once I saw that how the other young ladies responded, I was like, no, I don't need to be, it's time to cease. You just outgrow people sometimes, and it's okay. You move on. You don't have to carry that stuff with you, right? But what I wanted to get at is nipping things in the bud, that type of energy when people feel some type of way about you, if they won't address it with you or talk to you, what can you do? You can't do anything, and you can't carry that, because if you carry that, it's going to spill over into your activities, the dreams, your goals, the things that you are focusing on that are in your now. So some things need to be cut off, right? But going back to the story of or nipped in the bud, or some relationships just don't work out. But going back to the story of Daniel, and I don't know why I went so diverted. Maybe when I play this back, I'll see why I diverted into all of that. But going back to the story of Daniel, they conspired against him. They were envious, they were jealous. That was inside of their heart. And they got to the point where they realized he loved to pray, he loved God. And they went and manipulated the king's mind to put an ordinance in place, because the king worshipped idols, right? So they put an ordinance. They told the king that everyone should they manipulate the king's mind so that he would sign this ordinance that at a certain time everyone had to bow down and worship this idol. Daniel wasn't going to do that. So once the king signed that ordinance, the more watchers, the more accusers, they knew what time Daniel prayed and all that. They done watched them and studied them. Just like many folks have watched us and studied us, people of God. Folk you have no idea about, but you may feel it. When they found Daniel praying, they went and reported him. And when they reported him, it grieved his spirit, because he had loved Daniel. He had found favor in Daniel. But he was obviously not a man of sharp discernment, right? Because he didn't discern the ill intentions or the ill motives of those folk. Now, when Daniel was found in violation of that ordinance, he had to be thrown into the lion's den. That was what the punishment would have been. But see, let me tell you something. Even if folk lie on you, you may have to endure and walk through a valley of the shadow of death. You may have to endure some persecution. You may have to endure some folk laughing at you. There's a thing that says, he that laughs best, right? You wait for that last laugh, baby. You wait on that last laugh. Because see, that last laugh, it's going to be a laugh of victory. It's going to be a laugh of vindication. It's going to be a laugh of triumph. It's going to be a laugh of overcoming. There's nobody going to put out that laugh. There's nobody going to make it grow sour, right? But see, that first laugh, those are the laughs of the mockers, the accusers, the haters. Look at this cup right here. My haters thought they buried me, but they didn't know that I was a seed. Oh, glory, hallelujah. You can order one of these. I'll put a link in the description. CM Ministries is where you can order one of these if you'd like one of these mugs and many other mugs. But you see, when Daniel was thrown in there, it made them feel good. They thought he was going to die. That's how much hate they had in their hearts for this man because of his light. That light that was shining from Daniel was shining so bright. It made folk hate him to the point where they wanted him dead. They didn't care what happened to him down in that pit. The goal was for the lions to tear him apart. Oh, a terrible, painful death. Just think about the strength of a lion's jaw. Could just crush your bones if it were to bite down on you like that. But oh, glory, hallelujah, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Nisi, Jehovah Rapha, Jehovah Rofika, oh, Jehovah Zekinu. You see, the God that Daniel served, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. See, that God, he's the one who created the lions. He's the one who lets the sun set. He's the one who turns light into darkness. He's the one who woke you and I up today. Oh, glory. You see, Daniel's God, he showed up. He met Daniel down in that lion's den. And he closed the mouths of those lions. They couldn't touch Daniel. They circled around him all night long. And think about how his heart was. See, many of you, when you're looking at what you're going through now, see, I didn't have nobody on my path. When I was going through all my different valleys and valleys and valleys, one after the after you go through one, then you're defeated. Then you can have a break for a little while. Then something else come up. Then you have a break for. I'm like, I didn't have nobody in the physical, in this earthly realm, because I know how it is. Sometimes you just want somebody you can pick up the phone and call that will understand, that can speak a end time now word to your situation, and it will heal you or give you clarity. See, I didn't have that. It was just me and God, me and Elohim, me and this Ruach, Hakadesh. And it was more than enough. But during that time, it didn't feel like it. I had to learn. See, I had to learn to have a relationship with God, and that was where he wanted me. But see, people, those of you who are going through your valley, let Daniel's story encourage you. Then you'll see what you're going through. It may not be as bad. You see what I'm saying? Because think about the level that he went through persecution way back when. You understand? You go through spiritual persecution now, but physically, you ain't being thrown into no lion's den. You understand? And them brothers was real strong in God back then. They preached the gospel. A lot of them brothers stood on the front line. You know, they protected the women. And they provided. Glory, hallelujah. So see, your valley may not be as dangerous as the valley that Daniel was in, you know. But think about what a heavy heart he had and how nervous he was. He believed in his God. He stood on his faith. And the Bible says, the just shall live by faith. So while in that valley, all them lions circling, them big lions, probably all night long. And Daniel just praying, just believing with a heavy heart, fearful heart, grieving, sad, crying. Why is this happening to me? Because of your favor, baby. Because of your light. Because they want to stop it. Because they hate it. They want to be you. They want to be you. They want you dead so they can take your spot. But God ain't going to allow it. God ain't going to have it. You see, the next day, even the king, he was grieved because he loved Daniel. He sent folk to call. He went to check on Daniel. And when he realized that Daniel was still alive, he had folk draw Daniel up out of there. And he told them, this is how God get the glory, y'all. He told the people, He said, the God of Daniel is worthy to be praised, right? And I'm paraphrasing this, but he told the folk that nobody should say anything against the God of Daniel. You see, that's the Almighty God. And see, that's how God gets the glory through our story. Just by us standing on our faith. And standing on faith ain't always an easy thing now. Because you standing on something spiritual in the midst of going through something physical. You see what I'm saying? You're standing on something spiritual in the midst of going through something physical. And that is what it means to walk by faith and not by sight. So be encouraged. Be encouraged, people of God. Stand up for righteousness. Separate from folk. Separate from folk who are full of darkness. Pray for them, but choose peace. Don't allow somebody to easily come in and cause you to turn against another brother or sister in the body. Learn to discern folk. Learn to ask questions. Why is somebody telling you what they are telling you? Learn to bring people together face to face and solve disputes instead of holding on to secret conversations. Because how is that being effective? You're going to die holding on to them secrets? What could you have done to make it better? See, a lot of folk, they ain't used to folk being bold. They ain't used to folk looking them eye to eye and addressing the issue. And it's not about being disrespectful, not about bullying nobody, but being straight up. Bringing folk together. Now all that stuff you were saying over here and the stuff she was saying over there, now we sitting at the table together. It's all three of us. I'm in the middle, baby. Because I ain't on her side, I ain't on your side. I love her just as much as I love you. But some of the things you were saying was not all that true now. And you mix some of your feelings in there. And then some of the things you were saying were not all that true. And you mix some of your feelings in there. Because see, that's how you pull groups and peoples apart if you let that stuff linger, if you let that stuff grow on, you know. Envy and jealousy, division. You know, Satan's job is to divide. Once he calls that division, then he want to conquer. So whatever spirits he got to use over here and over there, they keep pitting back against each other. But someone who can sit in the midst of that and let that thing go on, that's a messy person. That's a messy individual. A righteous person ain't going to feel comfortable in the middle of something, getting news from over here. Oh, let me see what this one got to say. Oh, okay. Then going back over here, then you might drop some people. How can you be loyal to two people who are divided when y'all was all once together? You can't be loyal like that. A righteous person will nip that thing in the bud. A righteous person likes unity. A righteous person don't dwell in mess. God don't operate in mess. He don't bless in mess neither. No, baby. No. Learn to bring folk together. Learn what true healing is really all about. Make folks face themselves. And I'm going to tell you something. When you start operating like that, a lot of folk going to flee from you. A lot of folk going to flee from you. Just like a pile of roaches being in the middle of the floor when the light is off and you turn the light on and them roaches scatter. Oh, yeah, baby. I went outside last night to lock my chickens up. And in the chicken coop, I saw some water bugs. Water bugs is called cockroaches. They like heat too. They operate in heat for some reason. When I went out there, it was dark. But when I put that light in that thing, all the thing, they trying to get the chicken feed that my chickens drop on the ground. They try to get the feed. When I pressed that light out there, they went scattering. See? They operate in the dark. They don't like light. They hide themselves when the light comes. Them old water bugs. But operate like that. And you're going to see where spirits of, you're gonna see folk who are compulsive liars. They're going to start getting mad with you. I'm going to tell you another story. When I was in college, this one chick, and she and I haven't spoken in years, never had bad blood. We just lost contact. I was going to be her maid of honor when she got married, but we lost contact. I went, got fitted for my dress, And we didn't hear from each other for a while. I don't know what she was going through, but I moved away as well. But she had two beautiful children, a wonderful husband. They were boyfriend and girlfriend in college, and I always admired their relationship and the love that he had for her. And I remember they would get into arguments, and I would tell her, "You better call him and stop." I would always, I supported her um, in the relationship with her now husband because I just had a love for him. He was always a gentleman. And but anyway, we haven't spoken in years, right? But I remember this sister. She and I were roommates. She didn't pledge into sororities or anything, but we were well, we were not roommates. We were classmates, and we just had a click. We just clicked with each other from the beginning, and we became like sisters. Like there was just mutual love and respect. You know. I remember one day there was some beef going on downstairs outside her room. When she looked out, she was like, "So and so, that you?" And I was like, and the next thing I know, she done suited up and booted up in her sneakers and came out there like, "What's up?" I'm like, wow, But no, we were really, really tight. Come here, come here, come here, because you're not gonna start that. We were really, really tight, like sisters. And then this, sit down and stop. I'm not playing with you. Sit. There was this roommate that I had, and she saw how tight me and my sister was, and all of a sudden, because we all three of us had classes together, right? But my sister lived in a completely different dorm than me, and so my roommate one day, she told me, she was like, "Why are you and her so close friends? Why do you trust her so much?" I said, "Because we've been friends for a while." Now, mind you, this chick didn't come in the picture to a whole semester later or a year later or something like that, right? So she said, "Well, she talks so bad about you." And I was like, "Really?" And she told me some things. I can't remember the details. I said, "Stop it." And she told me she talks bad about me. And I felt some type of way. So when we went to class, I didn't sit by my sister because I normally would sit behind her. I sat someplace else, and my roommate, she sat beside me. So she and I, because this was before I was in a sorority or anything like that in college, right? During the freshman and sophomore years. Well, she sat beside me, so now she and I are establishing a friendship because we weren't really that close. We were just roommates. And so my friend, I was just, I would just discuss it with her. I didn't say anything. But the other girl, the stuff that she told me, it hurt me. But I never went to ask my friend. And then I noticed my friend, there were times when I would be going from place to place and I would see her communicating with my roommate, would be communicating with the sister, right? And I was like, after I think this thing had gone on for about a week or two. And I wasn't where I was in Christ now, but I could kind of discern one day leaving the class. I could see that my sister, who we were the original friends, I could see that she was kind of hurt, right? And I was hurt. So I'm thinking to myself, why is she hurt? And I told my roommate, I said, we need to have a conversation today. We need to go and confront her today. We need to, all three of us, get together. And she was like, why would you even worry about it? I said, because, we just need to talk about it. And she was like, I wouldn't worry about it. I said, no, I'm going to worry about it. I said, we talking about it after this class today. Right? Because at this point, I could see she was feeling some type of way, but she wasn't talking to me either. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking she ain't got no reason to not be talking to me. I'm the one who shouldn't be talking to her, not realizing this little demon, this little Jezebel, evil demon, came to divide and conquer. You understand? Something that was solid. So I after that class, I noticed my roommate. She was like, I ain't doing that. She was like, come on, you don't have to. I said, no, let's go. And my roommate just went walking way off fast too, right? And I'm like, why wouldn't she want to confront her after all this stuff she'd been saying, about me and the stuff she told her? So I called my friend. I called her name. Jane Doe. And so she looking. I said, we need to talk. And she said, you right, we need to talk. So she mad, I'm mad. And I'm like, first of all, you ain't got no reason to be acting mad. And she was like, first of all, so she coming back at me like that. And now we face to face. And so and I said, you the one who was blah 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 blah. And then her eyes is filling up with tears, my eyes is filling up with tears. And then when I see she's hurt, I'm hurt, because that's love right there. You see what I'm saying? That's the love of the bond of our friendship was being withheld. Our love was being withheld from each other. Our bond was being, how could I say it? That bond, the enemy was trying to break that bond. And the tears forming were the feelings that we had for each other, the sisterhood, you know, of the pain of feeling like you've lost somebody who's still alive and you ain't even know why. And then hearing all these lies come out. So then she turns and looks to where the roommate now has done walked way forward. And she said, that's why that she said that B-I-T-C-H. She said, that's why that B didn't bring her A over here, because she knew she was lying. So she started yelling, calling her name, and the girl just kept going. And I was just sitting there. I was hurt, but I felt like a fool. I was played. Just like that. Just like that. And see, from that day forward, now, this was, like I said, my freshman year. I didn't pledge into a sorority or none of that at this time. So I really didn't have no close friends or anything like that. People who I met, whatever. But I still just rolled solo. Even in college, but this was my one friend, my ace, And to see that from that time forward in life, period, that has taught me to never hold in what somebody brings to me. Unless they're my ace boon coon saying, hey, you know what? I'm putting you onto this because, you know what I'm saying? If you my ace, you going to look out for me. We got that bond like that. You understand? But to have somebody new come in and to start sowing seeds of discord, I nip stuff like that in the bud. I'm not the type of one to tolerate that. You know what I'm saying? If we three in a unit, if we the three stooges, and two of them stooges is falling off with one another, you ain't gonna get me to pick a side. Because if we was three in that unit and we was moving strong, then y'all need to fix it. And y'all need to fix it quick. Because I ain't gonna be moving with one negative and I'm the only positive. Nah, y'all not gonna pull me like that. So either y'all fix it or I'm gonna separate. Because you know what I'm saying? There cannot be no bond when you got one beefing over here. You can't be loyal to two people who are enemies. It's just not going to work. I'm not going to be a part of it. Y'all can do your own thing, So anyway, that's just my little 2 cents. But again, focus on the story of Daniel and know that when you are persecuted, God will meet you where you are, going through your persecution. I think I kept diverting to back and forth to 2 topics up in this thing. And I don't know how I was trying to tie it together, but I hope I didn't confuse nobody. So it's 2 different things that I was jumping back and forth between. Maybe somebody needed to hear both of those. Maybe somebody needed to hear that, right? So I'm not going to edit or delete or change anything. It is what it is. I freestyle. I've been freestyling up on here for how many months now? I hope I didn't confuse you. I hope you understood where your little sister, your country bunking sister was coming from. I hope I shared some words of wisdom with you. Don't be holding in these secret gossips and stuff like that. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He will divide and conquer any way he can. Bring folk together. Make folk meet up with folk that they done told you some negative things about. Sit down and talk to them, And let me tell you another thing. A lot of times when folk is liars and they wrong and they know they done did something wrong, they gonna start doing they gonna run off like that old roommate of mine did after she tried to destroy me and my friend. And me and my friend, we hugged, we went and we ate, we got us something to eat back like how we used to do. And we went back to my friend's room, but we was hurt, but we healed together. Yep, we healed together, and we never let that demon come back between us. And she gonna come back to the room real late. After she thought somebody would sleep up in there, because she didn't want to face that. But she's a liar, And I never talked to her. Even though we was roommate, I cut her off. I kept silent. Yep. I didn't get mean or, I just kept silent. I didn't want to talk about it. Nope. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to hear nothing she had to say. Cut the head off the snake. And so let me tell you something. When you want to confront folk and hold folk, make folk accountable, um, sometimes if they're not willing, they're gonna start getting loud with you, or they'll start using all kind of profanity and all of that, being so disrespectful and nasty. That's because they ain't got no words to communicate properly with you, or they done told some lies and they don't want to deal with it. You understand what I'm saying? They'll start acting real nasty and mad with you when you try to hold them accountable. We all need to be held accountable. Shucks, hold me accountable. Call me. In fact, if I do something wrong and you pick up the phone and call me, or you say, you know what, we need to talk, and you meet me at dinner or something like that, face to face, and you talk to me like a woman, like a man, respectfully, and you bring out something that I've done or may have offended you or done something wrong, I will have so much respect for you for that. I will. And if I'm wrong, maybe I may not see where I'm wrong at. But if you explain yourself to me, and if I'm wrong, I have no problems with apologizing and asking you, will you forgive me? You know, especially if you mean something to me. Anybody that means something to you and they know they done wrong you, they ain't gonna get no attitude. They may sit back and listen. You have a right to be upset. Sometimes people just don't know. But you sit and you have a conversation with somebody and you explain yourself and let somebody know where you coming from. Who can respect that? It's the things that's not said sometimes that cause the most problem, because sometimes people will be arguing with you and having a whole conversation about you in their mind and you don't even know nothing about it. Sometimes your strength and the things you say make people feel some type of way. Sometimes people can be following you or attached to you, and you may say something and they may think you talking about them, but you really not. You know, it's just sometimes when you got somebody that you respect, that you have respect for, you know, or you consider a friend, there needs to be open lines of communication in anything, even in marriages. You got to communicate with your spouse, you know, because the enemy roams seeking, he roams to and from seeking whom he may devour. Together people are strong, divided people fall. So be bold enough, be real with yourself, real enough to sit down and have a conversation with somebody. How can you be real with somebody? You can't be real with yourself first, you know? But anyway, that's my little 2 cents. I hope I encouraged you this morning. I hope I encouraged you. Stay positive, but be very vigilant. Don't hold in those secret conversations, and know that when your persecution is heavy, think about what Daniel went through. It's because of that light. And when you walk by faith, the just shall live by faith. You're going to have to stand on your faith, right? Which is spiritual. While you're going through things that are physical. But your faith will see you through. Your God is the same God that closed the mouth of the lions that were circling around Daniel in that den. That's the same God. He's a powerful God. And there's no other God that's more stronger than him. Right? So know that after the persecution, if you stand your ground, if you hold on to your faith, there is elevation that comes. Right? No blessing comes before a struggle. All right, people of God, have a blessed day. Know that we are the light of the world. We can't never let our lights grow dark. We got to keep shining bright. And we know that the blood of Jesus is the only blood that has some power. Let's go be great today. And if you want one of these mugs, click on the link in the description and order yourself one. Have a blessed day, people of God. I love you.